I'm Greg Krasowski, the founder and head of the Center for the Restoration and Development of Donbass, the Donetsk Gold Basin. I want to talk to you about the volunteer effort that we're trying to facilitate. Volunteers are needed in many different areas of Donbass in order to help people overcome the consequences and the damage that's been caused by the current civil war. Volunteers are needed in medical services, qualified medical personnel. Volunteers are needed in provision of education, educators, teaching assistants. Volunteers are needed for repair of civilian infrastructure, whether it's school buildings, medical buildings, residential facilities, everything else. Volunteers are needed for utility repair work to restore provision of electricity, natural gas, running drinking water, sewage, telephone lines, even television lines, and other services. If you have the requisite qualifications and experience and are willing and come and volunteer, please get in touch with us. We'll take your application. We'll forward it to organizations in Donbass who will be able to accommodate you. Volunteers are needed in other areas, aside from medical services, from education, or from emergency services. We've talked about utility repairs, but emergency services also include fire rescue, emergency medical services. Volunteers are also needed to help keep the peace, as law enforcement ranks have been devastated by the current civilian conflict. I'm not talking about political or military law enforcement. That's a part of the current conflict. I'm talking about civilian law enforcement that's needed to make sure crime does not spike, that we can prevent burglaries, robberies, we can prevent looting, we can prevent drug dealing and other crimes that can start to spike anytime a system of government services and law enforcement collapses in any given area. These are non-political services, and we hope to see people volunteer their time and come and help the residents of Donbass. Additionally, we're looking for volunteers to help the elderly and the children of Donbass. If you can help the elderly as a social worker, just as a home companion or a home aide, let us know. To make sure that the elderly are okay, they require house visits, they require assistance with going to get food, with going to get prescription drugs or over-the-counter drugs, with going to medical facilities and coming back, especially during limited transportation. Volunteers are needed for children to help with their education. If you can be an educational assistant, if you can help lead sport activities for kids outside of school, whether it's soccer, basketball, or anything else, or just to check up on the well-being and welfare of children in their homes or in the bomb shelters where they're hiding, that will be appreciated.